All right, guys, new comic book day is coming up. It's time to take a look at the books coming out and see what's on my pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the pull list. It's my weekly video series where I look at what's coming out. I tell you what's on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, I just can't pick up anymore, and what's on the maybe list. Those books I'll be making a game day decision on for this week, June 21st, 2023. Now, I'm filming this like a week in advance because I am currently at the beach. When I say currently, I mean when you're watching this, not when I'm filming it. Anyway, let's take a look. There's a lot of books coming out. I am definitely over budget, spoiler alert. But let's talk about what's on the list and how I might be able to get that budget number down some. The book I'm most excited about this week has got to be Nightwing, issue 105. Now, Nightwing by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo has been a great series, if not just like a pretty good series. Like, it's always elevated by the art and the different things that they're willing to try in order to like get more eyes on the series. So we've had like sort of gimmicky issues. There was one where every page was basically part of one continuous image. And then this one has a gimmick of its own where the entire issue is going to be drawn from Nightwing's perspective, from his point of view. So as you can see on the cover, you're putting on the mask, and I'm assuming you're going to see a lot from his point of view. And that's going to be interesting. I've really enjoyed the voices that Tom Taylor gives these characters. This book feels like the best of Dick Grayson. Like, if Dick Grayson is optimistic where Batman is paranoid, if Dick Grayson is compassionate where Batman may not be, this series really highlights that a lot. And it also kind of puts on display just the power of friendships and alliances with bringing in the Teen Titans every now and then. I've been enjoying this book quite a bit, not to mention the addition of Haley, or Bitewing, the dog, and this relationship burgeoning between Nightwing and Barbara Gordon. The series has been great. My only knock against the series is it feels like the plot just doesn't move forward very much issue to issue. But hey, I'm still enjoying it, and I'm going to enjoy a lot just the art in this issue and seeing the world through Nightwing's eyes. So this one's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And since we're done talking about Nightwing, let's talk about the rest of the books on the DC Comics pull list, starting with Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 15. Now, I know I told you guys like 2 issues ago that I was going to drop this book, but then Shazam came out, and I just loved looking at Dan Mora's art in Shazam. And then I started thumbing through back issues of this series that I have, and I was like, man, I just love looking at this art. Even if I don't necessarily care about the story, I kind of go in and out of the story, but the art by Dan Mora is always amazing. And it just doesn't make this just feels bad to not have that on my list. So Batman Superman's World's Finest, I keep buying it. It's on the pull list with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the DC Comics pull list is Black Adam, issue number 12. This is the final issue of the Christopher Priest helmed maxi series, these 12 issues. I can't lie. The first 6 issues were amazing. By issue 7, I was kind of confused, but I had also sort of just lost some enthusiasm for the series after they lost Rafa Sandoval to the Action Comics title. And not to say that the artists haven't been good on this title, it's hard to replace Rafa Sandoval. And so that, combined with the nonlinear storytelling and just the different pieces we were getting from issue to issue, made me feel like this would be better to read and trade. But I wanted to support the series because it's not often that Christopher Priest gets to write like mainline DC heroes. And I mean, what better time to write Black Adam than when the film was coming out? It also doesn't help that the film didn't do great either. So anyway, this issue concludes the run, and I think it's going to be a great read in trade. So if you haven't read it, go ahead and grab that. I'm sure the hardcover is available for pre-order at this point. So check that out. We're our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. But Black Adam issue 12, final issue, out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the DC Comics pull list is Cyborg, issue number 2. Cyborg, written by Morgan Hampton with art by Tom Rainey. Now, going into this series, I was really excited because I'm friendly with Morgan Hampton online. We're homies. And so I was like, all right, I'm curious to see what his approach is to this character, how he approaches the voices. Like, I just wanted to read a book by Morgan Hampton. And thankfully, I was very surprised, like pleasantly surprised, not even surprised. I just wasn't disappointed, is really the best way to put that. I really loved Morgan Hampton's dialogue, and not even just like through the main characters, but there was like this scene where there's this online stream called, was it Do Better Detroit? And I'm just watching the comments, people just being like, normal YouTube live stream commenters and just roasting everything that's happening on the screen. And I was like, yo, if that is not an accurate depiction of 2023 online behavior, I don't know what is. And that kind of sold me on the writing in general. But back to the actual plot of the book. So Victor Stone, Cyborg, is back in Detroit and he's kind of fighting demons. And unfortunately, he's got to fight them through the death of his father. And you guys know that a huge plot, especially if you've seen like Zack Snyder's Justice League, is Victor being super angry at his dad for making him cyborg. And they focused a lot on that anger. As a matter of fact, I want to say like the first arc of the old Cyborg run during Rebirth, the David Walker Cyborg run, was like called Angry Black Man or something. Like, maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like that was the case. But anyway, they have focused a lot on that anger. And, with Cyborg being sort of half man, half machine, I was concerned about this art because I'm like, hey, I want like cool machine effects and blah, 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 blah from Tom Rainey. And that's just that's not really his style. But reading this first issue, this is definitely more man than machine as far as the focus of this book. It's Cyborg dealing with unresolved trauma. It's Cyborg like gonna kind of let go of his trademark anger at this point. And that's a lot of what this run's about. I am absolutely here for it. Like I said, the art by Tom Rainey isn't what I sort of wanted going into it. And I don't think it's going to like make this some breakout book. I don't know. I feel like if you want to sell a book, you got to get like, someone a little bit more modern on art. So if a kid just happens to be thumbing through it at the shop, they're like, ooh, this looks cool. Let me grab that. This isn't going to give you those vibes. If you read Jeff Thorne's Green Lantern with Tom Rainey on it, you've basically seen this book. But what I will say is the style works well for the tone of the book and nothing looks bad. It's good storytelling. So great story, great art. Cyborg issue 2 is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. And I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the DC Comics pull list is Superman, issue number 5. Superman, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell. You guys already know I love Jamal Campbell on art. I had been wanting to see him on Superman ever since Naomi season 1. We got that, and it's everything that I could have hoped it would be. But on top of the art being great, the story by Joshua Williamson is also great. This feels like an animated series. I can't say it feels like the Superman animated series because I never watched it. But just with how tight the plot points are, the voices of the characters, this has like all the classic stuff you would want from a Superman story. It's fun while also offering different layers. And so Superman and Lex are reluctantly teamed up, if you even want to call them a team, but they're clearly working together to sort of solve this new issue that Metropolis is having. The chickens are coming home to roost. A bunch of Lex's old enemies are trying to take over, and Superman needs Lex's insight if he's going to fix things and save Metropolis. The last issue we saw Silver Banshee compromised in a way, and we got a pretty interesting surprise at the end of that issue. I'm excited to see how it turns out and just what's going to happen from here. So Superman issue number 5 out this week with a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the DC Comics pull list this week is Titans, issue number 2. So Titans, formerly known as the Teen Titans, have had to step up in the absence of the Justice League. Justice League's on hiatus. It's written by Tom Taylor with art by Nicola Scott. And if I'm honest, like it very much feels like an extension of the Nightwing book. Um, and honestly, it's not bad. There is a there was a surprise death in issue number one. I'm not sure how that's going to hold up, but besides like just that sort of big hook on the plot, all the things I said about Nightwing earlier today apply to the Titans series. It's the dialogue, it's seeing the interactions between the characters, it's seeing how they love on each other, how they interact with each other, how they joke about each other and with each other. That is really what glues this book together. The art is great too. I wasn't crazy excited about like the threat they faced in issue one, but it was more so just about seeing the team come together. And yeah, that death in issue one. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to hold up, but it's certainly interesting to figure out exactly what's happening. So I'm expecting to see more from that in issue two, and it's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the DC Comics on the pull list. A pretty heavy DC week. If I just stick to the books on the list, those will cost me $26 today. All right, so let's move on to the Marvel Comics on the pull list, starting with Avengers, issue number 2. Now, Avengers, written by Jed MacKay with art by C.F. Villa. The art is great, by the way. The story, I was interested in it because, I love a good team book. So if I'm not reading a bunch of solo titles, especially for Marvel, I don't read a lot of Marvel books. I'm like, hey, let me get my dose in the team book. And I just felt like Jason Aaron's Avengers, I was not going to be able to jump into. So I was very excited for the rebooted number 1. And it was a very much like sort of, I don't like saying by the numbers, but it was a book that made sense to be a number 1. Let's introduce all the characters. Let's explain why they're on the team. I was particularly interested in how Black Panther T'Challa would be handled, given everything that happened in the Black Panther title over the last year or so. And if I'm honest, the explanation was kind of hand wavy, like, hey, we love you anyway. But, it is what it is. I'm like, if I'm going to see T'Challa be heroic anywhere, it's got to be in the Avengers, right? So I was excited, or I enjoyed issue 1. I can't say I was like blown away by it. And part of that is because the surprise reveal at the end with Kang, like I knew it was meant to be impactful, but I know nothing about Kang. So I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about his character in issue number 2, which is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the Marvel pull list is Miles Morales Spider-Man issue number 7. Miles Morales, written by Cody Ziegler, art by Federico Vincentini, is absolutely the best looking and the most well-written Spider-Man book on shelves right now, or at least it had been through the first 5 issues. I have not read issue 6 because I was not really trying to jump on board the Carnage Reigns event train. Just there's not enough room on the pull list for all these extra issues Marvel's trying to throw out there. But what I've heard is that you can read Miles Morales even if you're not reading Carnage Reigns. And if that's the case, cool. And honestly, I did look at the Carnage Reigns alpha. Haven't finished reading it, but the art in that was amazing. And so I'd like to see Federico Vincentini drawing Carnage. So I'm going to check this one out, and I'm going to go back and read issue 6 as well. Issue 7 is out with a cover price of $3.99 this week, and I'm grabbing cover A. Now, the last or next book on the Marvel Comics pull list is honestly a book on the maybe list. From Jonathan Hickman, this is Ultimate Invasion, issue number 1. I think it's a one shot, but this book is going to mark the return of the Ultimate Universe somehow. Now, the Ultimate Universe came out 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I was like 10 and I was not reading comics. So it doesn't mean the same thing to me as it does to a lot of other comic book readers. I've read parts of Ultimate Spider-Man, but nothing to the point where it's like, oh yeah, bring back the Ultimate Universe. Like I haven't read all those interconnecting titles, the Ultimates and so on. So again, this isn't going to be as impactful or meaningful to me, at least going in blind, as it would be to someone who was a fan of the Ultimate Universe. And for that reason, and the fact that this cover price is $8.99, this is a strong maybe. I'm thinking If I hold off a bit, they'll probably throw it up on Marvel Unlimited early just so they can like really get interest in the series. That's what they did with Carnage Reigns, and they did it with a couple of other Marvel books earlier this year. So I would expect to see it on digital platforms or on the subscription platform sooner than later. And so I don't know if the reviews are just like giving this ultimate praise. Ultimate. If the reviews are just giving this super high praise and it's just inescapable, then I'll probably go to the shop and pick it up. But with a $9 cover price, I can choose to be over budget or not buy this and be back under budget. And that's really what it comes down to. So Ultimate Invasion, #1. Cover price on it, $8.99. If I grab it, I'll get the cover A. And the last book on the Marvel Comics pull list this week is X-Force, issue number 41. I'm telling you guys, between Wolverine and X-Force, I'm really enjoying Benjamin Percy's little corner of the X universe. It looks like Beast is going to be a key figure in the fall of X. Quentin Quire is back from the future to try to prevent that from happening. And look, man, I am all the way down for it. So that's really all I can say without spoiling a bunch of stuff. So X-Force issue 41 is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A, and that's it. That's it for the Marvel Comics on the pull list. If I buy everything on that list, including Ultimate Invasion, I'm spending $21 on Marvel Comics, and half of that is one book, which is just crazy. But let's move on to the indies, where first book on the pull list is Ben Mortara and the Thieves of the Golden Table, issue number 3. Now, I'm not even going to lie. The last issue of this series just came out like 2 weeks ago. So this could be an error on the part of League of Comic Geeks, but everything that I can find says this book is coming out today or this week. And I'm excited about it, even though my issue 2 is sitting in a stack right here that I have not gotten to yet because I'm just behind on pulls. But if you like Indiana Jones, if you like National Treasure, if you like archaeological thriller as a genre, I think you'll enjoy this book. The one thing that I found about issue 1 that I didn't like as much, I don't know, it's such a weird critique, but everyone's mouth is like open in their panels. And something about that felt awkward. I don't know how to describe that feeling, but like it was something that I noticed enough. And I was like, what is it about this? And then I realized, and it was like, oh, and it's like, I get it. They're speaking. So it's like, but it's, I don't know, something about the expressiveness wasn't quite there in issue 1 for me. I have to go back and read it again, but I loved the story and it just feels fun. So that's really a nitpick just for the sake of having one. But Ben Mortara and the Thieves of the Golden Table, issue number 3. I'm enjoying this. I hate that it got delayed so much, but issue 3 is out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the indie pull list is Disney Villains Scar, issue number 3 from Dynamite Entertainment, Dynamite Comics, is that what we're calling them? But this is the latest in the line of Disney Villains comics. I really love Maleficent. Scar is like okay in comparison. Hades is coming out next month, and that's going to be cool. But anyway, Disney Villains Scar. Something about it just hadn't been clicking with me. We're getting like a slow introduction to how Scar came to build an alliance with the hyenas. And we sort of got this cliffhanger at the end of issue 2 where he finally arrives in the elephant graveyard talking to who we're told is the queen of the hyenas. And I'm assuming that queen is none other than Whoopi Goldberg's Shenzi. So Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed, I assume, will make their debut appearances in issue number 3, which is out this week. And I can't even lie, I think adding the hyenas to the book could be that missing ingredient that takes it from like okay to a great comic, in my opinion. I still trust Chuck Brown, but there's something about the first 2 issues that just didn't quite hook me. But I'm excited to see these hyenas in issue 3. Cover price on this is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the Indie Comics pull list is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 109. So I picked this up starting with issue 100. Rita Repulsa's back. She's now Mistress Vile, and her schemes are bigger than ever. Her motivations are bigger than ever, and there are alliances that she had that she no longer has. As you can see, she's about to fight Lord Zed on this cover. She's got different people going in her corner that maybe we didn't expect as Ranger fans. And all of this, I will say, they've been sort of aligning this with the 30th anniversary of the Power Rangers to do like a big event. And I think that's cool that they're making the comics line up with like real world celebrations. And so giving people something to look forward to. Cover price on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 109 is $3.99. I'm going to grab the cover A. And the last book on my Marvel Comics, or the, indie pull list this week is The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue number 65. That's right. I have purchased 64 issues of this comic. I've read 4 of them, and the rest are for a project that I'm going to do. I'm going to custom bind these books together so that I can be among the first to have The Walking Dead in color in a hardcover collection on my shelves. That just seemed like a fun idea. So Walking Dead Deluxe has a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A by David Finch, and that's the last of my indie comics on the pull list, which brings me to a grand total of $16 for the indies and a grand total for all of my pull list of $63. But that does include the $9 that I'm planning to spend on Ultimate Invasion. If I don't buy that one, then well, that takes me back down to like $52, which after my subscriber discount puts me like right at like $49. So I'm technically under budget if I don't buy Ultimate Invasion. And I'm probably going to end up buying Ultimate Invasion, but it won't be on release day. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know what's on your pull list. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, even as I'm on vacation this week, taking a much needed break from the life and stressors of YouTube. But yeah, anyway, let me know what's on your pull list in the comments down below. Huge shout out to the channel family who make content on this channel possible. Their names are right there, and they're the reason I can afford to buy comics most weeks. So huge thanks to them. I'll see you all in another video real soon. Until then, be safe, stay awesome, and make sure you're reading something dope today. Peace.